What's up, big baller shot callers? Big Ken here. Welcome from the Grid to the Rim Sports Talk Show. Joined with my good friend Jim Leibold. How you doing, brother? Welcome to the show, man. Good to have you.
Thank you for having me, man. I'm excited to be part of this. This is really cool. Good job.
Yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, like I told you during like our pregame, before we hit record here, my best friend Monty and I came up with this idea, during March Madness 2023. Always like having new guests in here. You can come back to the show as many times as you want. Like I said before, some of other fellow football officials have been on this show, several times. So if you want to be, whenever you have the time, you could always do this, Jim. You could be on every show if you want. So,
Hey,
but
hey, man, we'll see how this one goes. People may not want me on this after this. Who knows?
it's all about opinions, man. Sports is all
Right
opinions,
on.
man. We all got opinions. But
Yeah.
as I already kind of alluded to a little bit before we get into some football, Jim and I are football officials together to give you guys some little bit of history. We actually met 3 years ago. We started officiating at the same time, so we've been a high school football officials for 3 years now. I think, like we talked about before, Jim, I think our class of officials that year was really good. We all seem to be doing really good so far in our early days of being a high school football official.
I agree. I 100% agree, man. I mean, there's a good group of us here that are, just jumped right in and are taking on varsity games, full steam ahead. So I'm pretty excited about where we're going. And yeah, it was a good group. We got a good group with us.
Yeah, we had a good group come in, man. You did
Yeah.
the Plum Water Camp together that summer. That was fun. So
Hell yeah.
yeah,
Absolutely. Love it.
love it too, man. All right, let's talk about some college football. Well, let's talk about what the topics of the show are going to be today before I get into college football. So hit up a little bit of college football first, and as always, most of the show will be NFL, but we'll hit up a couple of college football subjects. We'll talk about a couple of game recaps: Michigan and USC, Tennessee and Oklahoma. Talk about some conference stuff going on with the Pac-2, 12, whatever you want to call them, the Big Ten. Then we'll get into a couple predictions for Saturday's game. The big one's Georgia and Alabama, number 2 Georgia and Alabama, and
Gonna
then
be big.
that's gonna be big. And then we'll talk about, like I said, most of the show will be NFL. So that's our subjects today. So number 17 Michigan. Well, actually, number 11 USC played at number 17 Michigan last Saturday. Michigan's my team, but for this show, I had to be objective, and I said Michigan would lose, but I did say I hope they don't. I had my Michigan hat on last week. I said in my heart I want Michigan to win, but with their lack of offense and their quarterback situation, I just thought USC might win this game. But in my defense, I also did say Michigan. I mean, USC is making a very big trip. That's a long trip. Their young quarterback he wasn't road tested on big road game yet, so I did say Michigan might have an advantage there.
Yep. Yep.
And but I did think USC would still overall win the game. But Michigan pulled it out. I think they had a game-winning drive at the end to win because Michigan got up kind of early, 14-3 that I remember. But then USC came storming back. It was like tied 17-17 at one point, and then Michigan ended up winning 27-24. It was a really good game. I don't know if you saw that game or not, Jim, but
I did. Yeah, I did see. I did get a chance to see it. And listen, the one thing that I wanted to bring up about this is the fact that Michigan pretty much after their championship, season last year, pretty much lost everybody, right? I
yes, we
mean,
said that last week. Monty
yeah,
and both
yeah.
said that. Yeah,
Nobody expected them really to do anything this year, and for them to come out and do what they did to USC last week was pretty surprising. I think you are right. I think this Pac-12, travel schedule certainly has something to do with the game, right? I mean, maybe they just weren't prepared for it. They also weren't prepared to actually go in there and play in that place. I mean, it's ridiculous, right? I mean, it's
yeah.
a
Big
tough place
House
to
is no
play.
joke. Big House is
Yeah.
one of the biggest stadiums in college football. I think the biggest one, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, or one of the biggest.
Yeah, it's either that. I think that Ohio State. I mean, it
Over a
ranks right
hundred
up there.
thousand people. I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I mean that was a big win for them. That was a huge win for them in the Big Ten. Seriously. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see where they go after this, right? I mean, what's their next game? When I mean, who do they have next? I mean, it's
Michigan plays Minnesota, but it's at Minnesota because
yeah,
Michigan, like every year, it seems like they have like two or three home games in a row. Then they have like two or three away games in a row. So
Yeah.
they always
Yeah.
seem to start off at home the first 2 or 3 games of the year. So
Well, for your sake, hopefully it won't be a letdown. But they did, that was a damn good game. They did pull it out, and I really do think that it was a surprise. I really do.
I think it was a surprise. Like I said, I have faith in Michigan, so I don't want to sound like I'm unfaithful for my own team, but I have to be objective. Like I thought their quarterback play would hurt them. So
Yep.
I'm still worried about their quarterback play, to be honest with you. It was good to see them win against USC, a legit ranked team. We weren't sure how USC
Yep.
was going to be this year because we know their problem has been defense for a number of years, but their defense has improved somehow with the new coordinator. Like they beat LSU in week 1. That surprised me because we all had LSU blowing them out, and they beat LSU. So
Oh
then,
yeah. But now look at LSU.
yeah. So
You know?
USC is a good team, but this was a big
Yeah.
road game for their young quarterback. But he played well. I mean, he started off kind of shaky, but he ended up, playing well, and he got USC a lead late in the game, but Michigan came back to win. So
Yep. Yeah.
I'm still worried about Michigan
Hats off to the
though.
Big Blue. It was a
Yeah,
good one. It was a good game.
yeah. Hats off to the Big Blue, but I'm still worried about
Yep.
their quarterback in the future, playing like Ohio State, Penn State, there's
Iowa. Iowa
Iowa.
always
There's
plays
a
them
couple of
tough.
sleeper
Yep.
teams in the Big Ten that might catch up and buy them in the butt. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
Minnesota's kind of one of them. They're always kind of tough. They're not like usually like a ranked team, but they're in bowl games though all the time. They're always like 7-5, 8-4.
Yeah.
They're kind of like
Yep.
teams where they can like get you if you don't like prepare for them. So we'll see how they play on the road. But I know they need to pass more. I know Michigan's strength is running, which I'm okay with, but they got to be able to pass more than 10 times a game. And that's what he did. I think he was like 7 out of 12 for like 32 yards. They didn't need it against USC, but they're going to need that in the future.
For sure.
That's what
Yeah.
still
They want to make a run at anything. They
that's what
need.
still
Yeah.
scares me, man.
Yeah.
But thank
Yeah.
goodness they won. Um,
Yep.
the next game, number 6, Tennessee played at number 15, Oklahoma. That was their first road challenge because Tennessee played all cupcakes the first 3 weeks of the year, blowing teams out like 70-0, 70-7, 60-something to 3. I mean, something like that. It was
Yeah.
insane. But they had their first road test. Oklahoma really isn't known for their defense. They're usually known for their offense, but Tennessee won 25-15. So that was a good road win, you know, for Tennessee. They're up 22-3 at one point, and I think they kind of took their foot off the gas, and the final score was 25-15. So that was a good win for them. My mom and dad live in Tennessee. We're not from Tennessee, just to mention that to you, Jim. So my dad starts watching Tennessee football a lot now. So he's all over
That's
them.
good.
He's all over them. I think they're good, but I'm not quite convinced yet. I tell my dad, like, I'm not convinced until I definitely think they're good. There's no doubt about that. They're very talented, but I told my dad and brother-in-law, my brother-in-law and sister in Tennessee too, and I said, look, until they play Alabama and Georgia, that's their test to me, is to see
Yep.
where.
I agree with you. Yep.
So
100%. Yeah. I didn't get a chance to see that game, unfortunately. I was
neither
out,
did
but
I was doing
yeah,
Pee-wee,
that's a
but I
good
saw
win.
the score.
Yeah.
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 I just want to talk about the score being the first road test. If I have no highlights of that game, but
Yeah.
it was good. But it was a good road win for Tennessee, man. They're 4-0. They look good. I mean, they haven't really been in danger of losing any games yet. So
Yeah.
they've had very convincing wins so far. But my thing with Tennessee is once they start SEC play, that's where I'm gonna be paying more attention to them. So
100%. That's a tough division, man. And it really is a tough conference. I mean, it is a tough conference to play in 100%. So,
yeah, they've been the best. I hate to say because I don't like the SEC, but facts are facts. They've been the best conference in college football for quite some time now.
I agree. Yeah, I agree, unfortunately.
But other conferences are catching up. That's why Alabama, like Michigan, won the national championship last year.
Yep.
Clemson had Alabama's number a couple of times, where it seems like Clemson was Alabama's kryptonite a couple of times. But
Yep.
so it's
Well,
really
even UW getting into the championship last year, you know what I mean? I mean,
yeah,
somebody from the
that's what I'm
Pac-12
saying. Other conferences are catching up. They're
Yeah.
starting to figure. I mean, don't get me wrong, SEC fans. SEC is still very good, but other conferences are catching up to their level of play, and their bowl records.
Agreed.
Their bowl record supports it because in last year's show during bowl season, I talked about the SEC's bowl record the past 2 or 3 years, and their record against non-conference opponents, it wasn't as good. It's dropping. So
Hmm.
that's a sign. That's a sign that people are able to play against the SEC. So the Crimson Tide
Agreed.
is always Alabama and Georgia. The rest of the SEC teams are very beatable, but Alabama and Georgia are the ones that are always usually lights out. So,
Yep.
but
Yep.
let's talk about your Pac-2, Pac-12 there, Jim. I know you got some comments on that. 'Cause
Yeah.
Wazoo.
Yeah.
My son went to Wazoo too, so my son's
Yeah.
a Wazoo
Yeah,
grad.
it's a really crazy and sad day when you look at it, and I'm actually surprised actually that the pack is still alive. I mean, I really am. Coming being a an alum of the Washington State University Cougars, it was kind of shocking to see us along with the Beavers just be left alone. Just we're kind of left to the side of the road. But there's light at the end of the tunnel. We're bringing in looks like some Midwest or some Mountain West teams, right? So
Right.
Boise State,
That's a
San
good
Jose, was it
team.
San Diego
That's a
State?
good team to have in there.
Yeah, yeah, they really are. I mean, there's some good teams that are going to be coming and playing the Pac-12. They're talking about bringing a few others in as well from other conferences that I think aren't going to last after all this big shakeup. Because really, when
Yeah.
it comes down to, that's how it's going to. It seems like that's how things are rolling out. I mean, how many teams are in the Big Ten now? Is it
I think like
16?
I think it's 16 or 18.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane, and it's just, yeah. So it's pretty crazy.
It's
I actually
16.
heard.
It's 16 because they added four more. It's 16. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I heard this week that Gonzaga is talking about joining the Pac-12 at least for basketball. I don't think they have a football team,
They
but
don't.
Gonzaga's,
They need to for
yeah, thinking about
basketball. I
joining.
think that hurts them every year. Me and Brand
Yeah,
were for that, joking about, yeah, Gonzaga always loses in the tournament because they play in the West Coast Conference. So we all
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah,
need to join a real conference. They do.
yeah, and shoot, maybe even bring St. Mary's in with them or something. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, that's the
at
only
least
two
for
teams that have any
basketball.
kind of chance in that conference. The rest of them is like no way.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah, so the pack. I mean, the Pac-12 is not dead. We've got some stuff happening, which is pretty encouraging. At least being a Coug and a Beaver, we're pretty excited to see that things are at least we're not dead and being sucked up by another, conference
I'm
somewhere else.
glad they're
Because
trying to revive it. Yeah.
yeah, I heard that they were talking about maybe, us joining the Big 12 like everybody else had. And now we're talking, well, maybe Colorado's going to come back. You don't know,
Yeah.
right? So maybe Colorado's going to come back to the Pac-12,
That'll be
leaving the Big
interesting
12.
then. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just never know. So yeah, so I mean, obviously a lot of things still to come, but at least there is some positiveness coming out of the Pac-12 for
Yeah.
sure. So
Well,
I'm
what do you
excited
think
about
about
that.
your Wazoo Cougs? What do you think about the Cougs this year so far? They beat UW, the rivalry game, that Apple Cup game early a couple weeks ago. Not it was last
Yeah.
week,
It was 2 weeks ago. It was 2
2 weeks
weeks ago.
ago.
Yeah. Yeah, handled them pretty easily. But again, I again kind of like Michigan, UW after the championship game, they lost a lot of players, man. They lost a lot of players, right? I mean, their receivers or quarterbacks, some good defensive players. So they're pretty skinny right now. For my Cougs, yeah, I handled them, but then we turn around the week later and we almost get beat by Fresno State, right?
They're
So
legit though.
yeah,
Fresno State
I
gave
didn't know much about him. I honestly didn't know much
Fresno
about
State
him
gave
until
Michigan a game in week one. The
did
final
they?
score was 30-10, but it was 16-10 going into the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
Had a pick six at the end of the game to make it to go from 23-10 to 30-10. So the
yeah,
score was
yeah,
like a little bit misleading that game. Michigan's offense was really struggling in that game. That's why Fresno State was staying in the game. And it was at the big house
yeah.
too. That's what was even more surprising.
That is surprising. Yeah, but again, like we said, Michigan is down a little bit too this year.
They
Yeah, I
are.
think the Cougs will be okay. I mean, I think at this point we're just looking for a bowl game. So what are we now? We're 3-0 or 4-0. It's just a matter at this point of just trying to get to a bowl game. I really don't think there's any chance of us going any further than that. At least
No,
what I see. But getting to a bowl game, I definitely do see as something that's viable for sure with the Cougs.
I
We got a
agree.
good quarterback. We got a good quarterback.
Yeah, he can run. I can't remember his name, but I saw him
Yeah,
play early in the season, their first game of the year. He looked really good. He could really run and
yeah. Yeah, no, he's solid. He really is. And our defense is okay. It's not as good as it has been in years past, but I think that we can at least step up and challenge. I mean, we can beat somebody like UW in Seattle since they don't want to come to Pullman anymore. They don't want to do that, which is ridiculous, by the way. But hey, we'll travel wherever we need to play them. long as we can
Yeah,
beat them.
yeah, exactly.
So,
Hopefully Wazoo doesn't have a letdown. 'Cause I remember one year, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where they started off really hot, like 4-0, then they like dropped like 5 or 6 games in a row. Was that last
yeah. Oh,
year?
yeah. Yeah.
Like,
Not was it last year? I can't remember. But I mean, you know what? They seem to coog it all the time, right? That's
that's
just
what
the
they call
story
it.
of
That's
a.
Coogan it. Yeah, yeah.
That's just the story of us fellow Cougs, man. That's how it works out. And
They're Coogan
the
it.
big games, they sometimes they just can't step up. But
Yeah,
yeah, love the Palouse, love the Palouse.
yeah. I've heard that term before. They cooged it. That's funny.
For sure,
They're Coogan it.
for
I've heard
sure.
that.
Going back to the Big Ten, though, we've got some. Well, I'm also from Iowa, so I know you're talking about how you're a huge Michigan fan. Iowa's got a big game coming up in a couple weeks. They got
Yeah,
Ohio State at Ohio State, so that should be an interesting game. Third ranked team in the country. So we'll see how that goes out for them.
yeah. Yep. That's gonna be a good game. I'm pulling for Iowa all the way. I hate Ohio State.
Well, yeah, being Big Blue, I'm sure you do.
And my dad's from Iowa, so Iowa's kind of like the other team in the
Yeah,
Big Ten that I pay attention to besides Michigan. So
yeah, yeah. That'll be a good game. That Big Ten is just a tough conference, man. When you brought all these different when you brought all these different schools into, just makes it even more tough, right? I mean, it's crazy. It seems like every year they just beat the crap out of each other.
yeah, it's the same as
It's
that.
insane.
SEC and Big Ten are similar like that. Every week it's a hard game.
Yeah.
I mean, but there have been some letdowns. Like for example, like last year, Purdue wasn't good, but the year before they were very good. They played Michigan in the the Big Ten championship game, the
Yeah. Yeah.
conference championship game. Then Michigan State wasn't any good, but they were really good the past couple of years before. But they had a big problem with their coach. The coach got fired for some kind of sexual scandal, and their whole program just
Yeah.
fell apart. That was probably that's one of the reasons. And Illinois wasn't good last year, but not Illinois is good this year. So
Yeah.
so yeah, Big Ten still has some good teams, but yeah, there was 2 or 3 teams last year that was good 2 years ago, and last year they just sucked. So it's like, what
Yep.
happened to them? And then Nebraska hasn't been able to figure it out. It looks like they might figure it out this year. So
They're okay this year. Yeah, they're doing all
they
right.
are. They're
Yeah.
three and
They're not
one. They
ranked right
lost.
now.
They lost in overtime to Illinois last week in a very close game.
Right. Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So Illinois put off an upset in Nebraska. So, but they were both ranked going into that game. I think in the 20s, like
Yeah.
Nebraska was ranked 22 and Illinois was like ranked 24 or something like that. So
I recall that.
it
Hmm.
was the top 25 matchup. Yeah. But yeah, Big Ten and SEC, no joke. But
Yep,
speaking of
for sure.
SEC, let's talk about this Saturday's game. Number 2, Georgia at number 4, Alabama. So Georgia's got something to prove from not getting the college football playoffs last year. Obviously, the college football playoff format is different this year with 12 teams. That was long overdue, so
Yep.
I'm glad it finally happened. I don't know if you've
100% agree.
I don't know if you've seen our previous shows yet, Jim, but we talked about that in week 1, the breakdown of how the college football playoff format is going to work now with 12 teams. So
Hmm.
long overdue, though. So Georgia's obviously got something to prove. Alabama got to the semifinals last year, and Big Blue, my boys, finally knocked them off and got that monkey off their back for losing in the semifinals a couple years in a row. And they won. Obviously, they won the national championship against UW. But
Yep.
Alabama wants to get back. Obviously, both teams got their quarterbacks returning. Jalen Milroe is coming back. He's got a lot of experience, and same thing with Carson Beck for Georgia. So both teams have really good quarterbacks. Both teams got really good running backs. I'm not sure whose defense is better. I think they both got solid defenses. I'm not sure who. I didn't look up to see who was ranked higher defensively, but both are legit defenses. It's at Alabama. But speaking of UW,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um,
I'm just thinking Kalen DeBoer, the former UW
I was just going
head
to bring
coach
him
that,
up. Yeah.
yeah, now in Alabama. He's not going to settle for mediocrity. He's just not. And Alabama is a well-known name school, right? I mean, it's got a tradition, and he definitely wants to carry that. And he's known for having good defenses. So with it being in Alabama, I really do think that they're going to come out, and they're going to come out strong. I don't know what the score. I really don't know. I can't give you an idea on what a score will be on it. Maybe you have an idea, but I
I
think
don't
Alabama's going to win
know.
that game. Yeah.
Georgia is number 2 for a reason, and they got a lot to prove. I think it's going to be a
True.
really good game. But you're right, Alabama. They both have traditions, but especially Alabama, because Georgia's been on the scene lately. Georgia won back-to-back national championships a couple years ago. Last year, they got snubbed by losing to Alabama in the SEC conference championship game, and that was their only loss of the year, and they felt a certain way about that. But the problem is only one SEC team could get in, and you know, Alabama just beat them in the game,
Yep.
and Georgia did not look good that game. Alabama won kind of convincingly, and Georgia
Agreed.
just quote unquote passed the eye test in that game. So
Yep.
that's why they got snubbed last year. So that's why I'm glad there's this 12-team college football playoff format, because now no one can get snubbed. Like you can't complain being number 5, 16 why you didn't make it in anymore. So you're
Yep.
in.
I agree with you. I agree with
You're
you,
in,
man.
man.
I'm glad they're doing it. I'm glad they're doing it. I'm
Yeah,
glad they
you're in
finally made
now.
that
So
change.
you're in
Yeah.
now. So you got to get in there, man.
Hmm.
There's other top 25 matchups, but that's the only one I wanted to bring up. We'll get into
Hmm.
NFL since NFL is going to be most of our show. Man, NFL. Got to talk about my Cowboys, man. That defense was bad 2 games in a row. That run defense is horrible. Lamar Jackson, Derrick
Brutal.
Henry just ran all over them.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say about the Cowboys, they did make a good comeback in the fourth quarter. They were down, what, at halftime they're down 21, was it? Yeah, 21-6, and it was 28-6 in the third quarter. But then all of a sudden, the Cowboys lose 28-25. So all of a sudden they scored 3
Yeah.
touchdowns out of the middle of nowhere in the fourth quarter. But it was a little bit too late. I really like Cee Dee Lamb, but him, not playing, not doing anything during the off season because he was under that, trying to get his contract. That's
Yep.
nuts a little bit because he doesn't look like he's fully there, and he's only played one half of football. It seems like in the first couple of games of the year, he's only had all of his catches have mostly been in the first half. He does nothing at all in the second half. All of his catches.
Is that scheme, or what do you think that is? I
I
mean, it
don't
doesn't
think
make any
that's
sense.
scheme.
He's the best receiver in the league, you know?
I think the defensive guys are the other teams are keen on him, which is obviously one thing.
Yeah.
Dak wants to go to him. Cowboys have no run game themselves. They have no run defense, but they have no run game themselves on offense. So most
Yeah.
teams are playing them for the pass. So that's
Hmm.
probably part of it. Not making excuses, but until they prove they have a legit running game, like they're gonna
Yeah.
key on the pass.
Well, that
Um,
was their mistake for not bringing in a running back. I mean, they
yes,
decided to bring back Ezekiel Elliott. Are you kidding me? I mean, come on, the guy wasn't even doing anything when he was with you guys 2 years ago. Why are you
exactly.
bringing him back? And I thought Rico Dowdle would do more than he has this year. But again, you guys have lost some offensive linemen too, so
Yeah.
you're not the offensive line that you were in years past. You just aren't.
Nope.
But I'm surprised they didn't bring somebody in. Bring in Derrick Henry. I mean, if you're gonna spend the money, man, bring somebody like that. And look what he's
It's
doing in
funny.
Baltimore.
It's funny you said that, brother, because me and Monty, my co-host, my best friend who I was talking about for the show, we're both Cowboys fans, and we were talking about this last week. After Sunday's game, we were talking about it, like we should have just got Derrick Henry, and we had
Yeah.
an NFL draft show actually too. You know, from the grid to the rim after the draft like
Yeah.
this earlier this year, and we were talking. I was pissed that the Cowboys got no running back in the draft. I was like, Jerry Jones is a freaking idiot.
Seriously, yeah, he
So
totally is an idiot. It doesn't make no sense.
I was joking around on the show. I can't remember what I said exactly. Robin was on social, so she might remember. I said, Jerry Jones just needs he's a billionaire. He just needs to go drink pina coladas or like Mai Tais on the beach and just go chill out with his wife, man. He's like 80.
Exactly.
He's like 80 years old. Just go somewhere and have a few beers. Let someone else handle football, man.
Yeah, yeah. Keep your nose out of it, man. Keep your nose out of it. Let them do their jobs, because obviously
He
what you're doing is
doesn't
not
until he gets
helping.
out of the Cowboys until he lets someone else do it. It's going to continue to be this way, unfortunately. I think everyone knows
Yeah.
it. So, um,
I agree with you though. The offense is certainly lacking, definitely in the running game. But what I'm more concerned about is their defense, man, because that defense was
me
solid,
too.
and it was solid last year. What happened to Micah Parsons? Where is he still there? I mean,
He's
is
there,
this
yeah.
guy? I mean, that guy was just a run stopper. He was a sack king. The guy was everywhere. I mean, you watch the game now, and I'm like, it's like a freaking sieve. I mean, they're just running right down Dallas's
Well,
D.
their run
So
defense has always been a problem.
it's terrible though, bro. It's like, man, I just don't
Yeah, it's
understand
worse than it's ever
how
been,
it
but it's
got to
never
that.
never been good. The
Yeah,
Cowboys' strength on defense was their pass rush. That was their
big
strength
time.
last year. That was their strength the year before. Their run defense has never been good, but it's really bad now though. But their run defense wasn't good last year either.
Yeah.
But Micah Parsons did get a lot of sacks.
Yep.
And even when they weren't getting sacks, as long as they can mess up the rhythm of the offense by getting pressure on the quarterback. So a sack is obviously better, but if you just get him off his mark and make them run around and make him get off
Well,
target, you know.
let me ask you this, Ken. How many sacks does Micah have so far this year?
I don't even know what he's got. I can't remember. I think he had
Yeah.
one or 1.5 in the Cleveland game. I don't think he's gotten anything else since. So I think he had
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty bad.
it's either 1 or 1.5. I should have looked up that stat, but it's not very good. No, he's under. They're all underplaying, man. That's for
Big
sure.
time.
Yeah.
100% big time. It's only 3 weeks, so we shouldn't freak out yet, quite
No, I'm
yet.
not
But
freaking
I
out.
mean,
It's just a concern. I even told my friends, one of my
yeah,
friends hates, he's a Cowboy fan too, and he doesn't like Dak Prescott. But I said, hey, brother, it's not Dak. I know Dak has not played good in some really big games for us, especially in the playoffs. But I said
true.
it's not Dak right now, though, bro. Dak is the one that
Yeah,
brought us back to make it 28-25.
he
So
did. He had a good game last week. He had a really good game
yeah,
last week, actually.
it's
So,
the defense, like you said. It's our defense, man. I'm more worried about
yep,
the defense too. I'm worried about the run game on the offense, but the defense is the scarier part. But
yep, agreed.
let's
Agree
get
with
your
that.
Seahawks, brother. What do you got to say about the Seahawks being 3-0? That's kind of surprising with their new coach McDonald. That's very
I am,
surprising.
yeah, I am super, super excited about it. I will say this with hesitancy, though, right? Let's
Yeah,
face it, we haven't played anybody yet. I mean, we
that's
played the
true.
Broncos, we played the Patriots, and we played, well, I mean, Miami's good if they had a quarterback.
They
They
had
just
no
don't have a
quarterback. I
quarterback.
agree. You're right. You're right. You
So,
can't
you
like
know,
get
and
too high. You're right.
yeah,
Right.
and that game was at home. So this game this week is going to really be a good test for us because, not only is it not at home, it's in Detroit, but it's against a Detroit team that has an awesome defense. They have a really good offense. Jared Goff, I don't know what happened to him, but he leaves LA, goes to Detroit, and he becomes this freaking superstar. It
Yep.
just blows me away. You know what I mean? And I think that they're the receivers. I know Monte Brown was hurt, but I think he's back now, so I think they'll be okay there. They got great running backs. Seahawks, this will be a good test for them. Geno Smith has looked really good. He's looked again against three mediocre teams, has looked really good. He and DK are just dialed in, right? Two
Yep.
deep passes in 2 games in a row. What I'm excited about, honestly, is Mike Macdonald coming in and our defense. Dude,
They're better than I thought they're going
looks
to be because defense has been a problem for you guys the last couple of years, and they look good right now.
big time. They look amazing. The pressure that they're putting on opposing quarterbacks is incredible. They are, doing a good job of stopping the run, but their secondary, it's insane. I mean, I can't
Yeah.
believe how good they're playing. They really are. I mean, I think they've got like 4 or 5 interceptions already in just 3 games. So I mean, as far as the Seahawks go, I'm going to be hesitant, but I'm super excited. I expected them when I started the season. I expected them to be 2-1 at this point. I figured they would lose to Miami just because it's two, and I just don't know how our team is going to be. Right? It's a new head coach. You just don't know. But yeah, man, and I'm pretty excited about where they are right now. But again, let's see how we do this week. It's only 3 weeks, so I don't want to get too excited yet. We're not
I
Super Bowl bound yet.
I agree with you. No one should get excited or too down yet. Like I said, even the Cowboys are doing horrible right now. It is only they're 1-2, so 1-2 is better than being 0-3 because a lot of 1-2 teams can still make the playoffs, and they've been 1-2 before and they made the playoffs, but they had to clean a
Yeah,
lot of things up. Especially,
yeah,
and
yeah,
like you
yeah.
said, the Seahawks are going to get challenged more as the season goes along. So, we'll see how they do.
Or
So,
yeah, for sure. I mean, our conference is, I think, is a little bit better than I actually thought it was, even though, everybody else is 1-1. Well, I think, what is it? Arizona's two
yeah.
and one. Nobody expected Arizona to be where they are, and nobody
Yeah,
expected San
Kyler
Francisco to
Murray
be where
came
they.
back. Yeah, he looked good.
Yeah, yeah,
They lost
and
last week to somebody. That surprised me. They beat the crap out of somebody the week before, the Rams,
are,
actually. And
yeah,
then,
are you talking about Arizona? Is that the game you're talking
yeah,
about?
Murray
Yeah,
came
yeah. Well,
back.
Detroit beat them. Detroit's the team
Well,
that
that's
beat
right.
them,
But
but
Detroit's a really good team, but they beat
they're
up
a
on the
really good
Rams.
team.
But Rams had a lot of injuries that game. But
Yeah,
the win's a
yeah,
win.
but
They beat them bad.
yeah. But you know, the San Francisco and the Rams going at it. I mean, honestly, let's face it, the San Francisco should not have lost that game either. And you know, the Rams should be
That was probably
one
one
and
of the more
two, and it should be two
surprising
and
games of the week right there. And Minnesota
agreed.
just beat the crap out of Houston. I thought that'd be a better game. Um,
Yeah, yeah. What the
that
hell's
was the
going
two
on
games
there?
that surprised me. Was I thought Minnesota had a chance to win, but I think on my picks I picked Houston to win because I liked CJ Stroud. You
Yeah,
know, so I was like, yeah, they might win this game, but yeah,
yeah. Who doesn't? Yeah, he's
they
good.
got blown out though. But the more surprising
Yeah.
the more surprising game was San Francisco. They had a big lead and they lost it. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep. I agree with you 100%. I would, so that NFC West, I think, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the problem is San Francisco's got so many people hurt, and actually the Rams do too. When those guys get full strength, it's going to be a much tougher division. It really will
yeah,
be. And you know, so we just got to keep taking our wins when we can take them.
yeah,
Unfortunately, we're not playing San Francisco or the Rams anytime soon, so we're not getting the advantage of being able to play these guys while they're hurt. That sucks,
yeah. I agree with you,
you
brother.
know.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Well,
But we're excited about the Hawks. We are. We're pretty excited.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Falcons Chiefs game. So I watched this game on Sunday Night Football. Like we talked
Yep.
about during pregame, us as officials, obviously I missed a lot of calls. You have to. That was a very good game, but that official did miss a big defensive pass interference, what we like to call DPI. He was all over him early. Can't believe they didn't call that.
Well,
Yeah,
the biggest thing too, Ken, that I see when you see the replays of it is the official's standing right there. I mean,
yeah,
I don't know how he missed that call. I mean, clearly he's standing right there. There's no way he should have missed that. There's absolutely no way that that should have not been called. Atlanta got screwed on that one. They really did. And it seems, I know I shouldn't say this, you know, because this is going to go out to the public, but what the hell's going on with Kansas City and getting the calls? It seems
no, say what you
like
gotta say,
every
brother.
week.
I don't care if it's a public
Yeah.
or not. This is our sports talk show. That's a good point.
Yeah.
A lot of people are
It
talking
just,
about that.
yeah, it's crazy. It seems like every week Casey gets some kind of get out of jail free card where they either they don't get called on something or somebody gets something gets called on somebody else, right? And it seems to be just KC. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing on it. But you know, because most of their games are televised up here in Seattle, so we
Yeah,
can watch them. And yeah, man, I'm just like, you're right. That was clearly missed by that official, and it should have been called DPI, 100%.
yeah. I mean, they're more and they're I mean, no one's perfect, you know, but you know, and they're
Yep.
NFL officials, so they got more experience, and they have all these replays. I talk about this countless times with Monty and Brandon, like you know, in our high school football games, in our pee wee games, and middle school games, we have no. See, they could go back and replay things 1,000 times to get it right, you know, but
Yep.
we don't
Yep.
have that. So wherever we see live, if we're right or wrong, that's what we're going with. I mean,
Yep.
but of course, as officials, you know, we can talk each other off, or someone can say, "I think that was a foul." So we can throw a flag late if we come together as a group. You know,
Yeah.
we've done that before. You know, but we definitely don't have replay to go back and look at these things like they do. And my first game of the year at South Kitsap, I think I was telling you this, but I saw it right in front of my face as a free kick, and you know, horse collar big time, and the had no overall bearing on the game. South Kitsap won big against the team they're playing with the first week of the year, but it was like late in the first quarter, and you know, it was still a game at that point. The other team had just scored. I think it was tied, you know, and horse collar's right there. I know it's a horse collar. I see it. I'm right on the 35-yard line, like the HL is supposed to be. I mean, he's getting tackled like right around that spot. I mean, I see it clear as day, and I wanted to throw my flag, but for some reason I just hesitated and I didn't throw it. And
Yeah.
the crowd's like boo, but you know, the rest of the game I was fine, but I definitely missed that call. So yeah, so I mean, not making excuses for us officials, but yeah, I was right in front of my face, and I just didn't.
Yeah.
I knew I had it, and
Yeah.
for some reason I just didn't throw. I don't know if that's ever happened to you before, but I just
Oh
didn't.
yeah. Oh
Yeah,
yeah. It
so
100% has happened to me before. I've had one where it was clearly a hit out of bounds, and I didn't throw the flag. You know, the kid. There's already somebody contacted with the kid. They're out of bounds. Here comes another kid,
yeah,
slams into him, you know, and pushes them way into you know the other team's bench. should have thrown the flag. And, I heard it from that sideline. They were not happy about it. And, we missed, you're right. We all miss calls. We really do. You just kind of look, like you say, the replays show it's clear as night that it was
Yeah, and
it
they
was
have
a
more experience
DPI.
than us as NFL officials. They have more officials
They
out
they
there.
do.
They have a 7-man crew. We got 5.
7-man crew, yeah. Unfortunately,
So,
DPI is not one that can be reviewed, which is
yeah,
unfortunate. Maybe they should change that in the future. But because like you say, yeah, you've got a million different angles at every football game anymore. So you can clearly tell, if it's going
yeah,
to be DPI or not. And maybe he was blocked by the receiver, so he didn't see, or maybe, so I don't know, maybe whatever. I'm not trying to give the guy an excuse, but
yeah,
yeah, we all make mistakes, man. Nobody's perfect when it comes to this kind of stuff. I mean, look at the baseball umpires this year. It was probably some of the worst baseball umpiring I've seen in years. Thank God
yeah,
Angel Hernandez is gone, bro.
yeah, yeah. I agree with you there. And one of my neighbors is a big baseball guy. He
Yeah.
shares your sentiments on that one, man.
Oh
Yeah.
man, Whew, that guy was horrible. Oh God.
Yeah.
So yeah, everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, they make mistakes, and I'm not making an excuse for the pitcher because he's NFL, and they got the replays, they got the experience. He was in position to see it, like you said, he's looking right there. I still don't know why he didn't,
Yeah.
throw it. He was, but full speed, live speed is different than replay too. Maybe he thought they got
True.
there at the same time. I don't know. So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that's
We
something
could
I can,
talk about it. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's something I can assume, but no one really knows for sure. Live speed, he might think it looked like nothing, but on replay, it's very obvious. So, you
Very,
know,
very obvious. Yeah.
yeah.
100%. Yep. Big time. Too
Let's talk
bad.
about let's talk about young Mr. Jaden Daniels, man. I didn't see the Monday night game because I was doing a freshman game at CK, and looked at my
I
phone.
got to watch it. Yeah.
Looked at my phone after the game was over. Actually, I got home and there's 2 minutes left of the game. I got home, came running to the house. I knew the game still might be on, so I pop on the TV. 2 minutes to go, I'm like, oh crap, man! Washington's actually winning this game. I'm like, I couldn't believe it because I had them losing big time. I was like,
Yeah.
Joe Burrow's going to get his first win against Washington. I was like, we talk about how slow Joe Burrow in Cincinnati always comes out every single year. They come out slow every single year. But I thought this time he would win this game, and they did not. And Jaden Daniels, here's
Well,
the stats, bro. 21 out of 23 for 254 yards, 12 carries for 30 and 2 TDs, and 12
in a
carries
rushing TD.
and a rushing TD. Joe Burrow had some very good stats of his own in a loss: 29 out of 38, 324
Oh
yards,
yeah.
and 3 TDs. Joe Burrow
Yeah.
played
Yeah.
well. Didn't see this game. I don't know if you did because I was
I
gone
did.
for the game. So I'll let
Yeah.
you talk about it. But I'm just more surprised about Jaden Daniels, getting 2 wins in a row, man. They're making some noise all of a sudden early on in the season in the NFC East. So I'm like, oh my God. So
Yeah. Well, what was most surprising in this game, honestly, is that, well, first of all, didn't we all think that Cincinnati was going to be one of the teams challenging the AFC for the Super
yep,
Bowl? Right.
yes,
Right. I mean, that's what I thought. I thought it was going to be them in Kansas City, and actually, honestly, Houston and Miami. That's kind of what I was looking at. Um, but in that game, man, I'm telling you what, I was watching it just because I was, in my fantasy league, I'm playing against a guy who has Jaden Daniels, and Jaden hasn't done, anything pretty much most of the season. Of course, he goes off and scores 30 something points against me, that bastard.
yeah,
But yeah, but he was a little hesitant in the first half, but man, he took control in the second half. He just was dropping dimes, to his receivers. Making good decisions, throwing the ball away when he needed to throw the ball away, running the ball when he needed to run, getting down. There was a couple of plays where he didn't get down. I was like, man, you're gonna get yourself hurt. I mean, he's gonna turn into another, Robert Griffith Jr., right? I mean, or not,
yeah.
yeah, Robert Griffith. Yeah, he's just gonna turn into one of those guys
RG3,
in
yeah,
Washington. Yeah. But he looked really, really good. And again, you're right. Joe Burrow looked good too. I mean, he had 2 deep passes to Jamar
Chase,
Chase.
yeah,
Yeah, those guys were in sync again. I just cannot believe that this was in Cincinnati and Cincinnati lost to
yes.
Washington. I just can't. I could not believe it. I mean, are they 0-3 now? They're 0-3
They're
now.
0
I
and 3.
mean,
They're 0 and 3, but
wow.
they start off slow before. Like they're 1 and 3, I think, last year in the first 4 games, and they still made the
Yeah.
playoffs. So I won't count Cincinnati out yet, but I did not expect them to lose this game in Cincinnati, like you said. I thought they would be
Mm.
1-2. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, yeah.
surprised. Yeah,
And I'm really impressed with Jane Daniels. I really am. He does look all the part, of a number 2 overall pick. I mean, let's face it. The guy looked good in that game. Now again, here we go. It's only the 3rd week, right? So
yeah,
let's not all
yeah.
get too
I wouldn't
excited
like
about this
don him as
guy.
the
But
MVP yet, the Rookie of the Year or whatever. But yeah, he has
yeah,
a chance early in the season. He has a good chance to win Rookie of the Year. But he said that, like you said, though, there's still 14 more games to go. But he's off to a
yeah,
good start.
yep,
No
for
doubt
sure.
about it.
Yep, agreed.
All right, man. Let's get into some picks for the show. Thursday night
Sweet.
game. Tomorrow's game,
Thursday
Thursday
night.
night. Cowboys at the Giants. Oh my God, the Cowboys better bounce back. We've had the Giants number for years, but I'm a little bit worried though that the Giants finally are going to get a win. But we've been dominating the Giants for like the past, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years. We've been pretty much sweeping them most of the time. Them and Washington, but maybe we may not be able to sweep Washington this year. But our challenge is we usually split against the Philadelphia Eagles. You know, we've been sweeping Washington, we've been sweeping the Giants, and we split usually against the Eagles every last 3 or 4 years. I'm still picking the Cowboys to win. Giants got no offense themselves. They got serious quarterback troubles with what's his name over there. Daniel Jones. I don't know.
Yep.
They do have Malik Neighbors. He had a really good week last week, and the Giants did get their first win of the year, so that's a little bit scary. Maybe carrying some momentum, but I still expect the Cowboys to bounce back. Only one that scares me is Malik Neighbors and the Cowboys secondary. But we had to get after Daniel Jones, force him into turnovers, make him play like the way he's been playing the past couple years. He's very suspicious at quarterback. He's going to be gone after this year, I think, and he might not even last the whole year there.
Yeah.
But I expect the Cowboys to bounce back in New York. So what's your pick?
Yeah, yeah, no, I think Ken, no need to worry too much about this game. In my opinion, no need to worry too much about this game, bro. It's fucking, excuse my language, but it's the
You're
Giants.
good.
It's
Yeah.
the Giants, right? I
You're
mean,
good, brother.
God, I mean,
This isn't for kids, so don't worry.
no, seriously. Listen, you're right. Daniel Jones, I mean, come on. And the way that team, I honestly, I don't even know how they won last week, to be perfectly honest with you. But regardless of that, it is the Giants. I don't care. This game could be, it could be anywhere, and Dallas is going to win it, right? I mean, it could be right in the middle of New York's Times Square, and Dallas is still going to win this game. There's no question about it, in my opinion, anyways. Micah Parsons, you're right, does need to put a little more pressure on him. I think they're going to win pretty easily. I think it's going to be 24-3 Dallas pretty easily, in my opinion.
I agree. I like that score.
Yeah.
Cowboys need to get
Yeah.
the offense going, but this could be a chance to do
Yep.
that. Um,
Yeah, I really do see him. I think that defense is going to step up. I really do. I think they've got this one pretty easily.
okay. Bengals at Panthers. Who you got in that one? I got the Bengals. I think Joe Burrow will get his first win this time. Panthers are pretty suspicious. They do have Andy Dalton starting now instead of
Yep.
Alabama quarterback.
Bryce Young.
We talked about
Yep.
Bryce Young being benched last show. Me and Brandon were talking about that.
Yeah.
They did not set him up for success by starting him right away with no team around him. Panthers got absolutely nobody. That was a mistake by their leadership, their ownership, everybody. Like, I really like Bryce Young, and they did not get him off to a good start in his career. With having a team like this and him being a rookie now in his second year, he has no one there to throw to.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow better get his first win. If they start 0-4 this game, I will be worried about the Bengals. But I got the Bengals winning this game big. I think the Bengals will blow them out by 20.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do too, man. I mean, like you just said, Ken, there's no way that the Bengals are going to go 0-4 and lose to the Carolina Panthers their 4th game, right? Their 4th straight loss. So again, I don't care where this game is either, being in Carolina. Cincinnati's going to come up. They got something to prove at this point. They feel like they're at the top of the class of the AFC, just like Kansas City. They feel like they're in that class. They should have beat Kansas City the first game, right?
Yeah.
They should have won that game, and they lost it. They just barely lost that game. That was another terrible call by the refs in that game. But regardless, Cincinnati's going to win that one. I feel the same as you. I mean, it's going to, I have 28 and shit. I have 28-12, somewhere in that area is where I'm thinking
Yeah,
28-10. Yeah.
yeah, it'll be a blowout.
Yep, for
Um,
sure.
this is a hard one. Saints at Falcons. Saints lost to the Eagles, which I won't say it surprised me, but I was surprised how low scoring it was because the Falcons, I mean, sorry, the Saints
Yeah.
offense had scored 40 plus points in 2 games in a row, one against my Cowboys and the other one against
Yeah.
Carolina Panthers. They were just on fire.
Yeah.
Then they just had this like complete like letdown against the Eagles at home. And I mean, and the Eagles squeaked it out. I think the final score was 15-12. It was a very
Yeah.
low scoring game. Um, can the Falcons, can the Dirty Birds bounce back? You know, I think Kirk Cousins had a really good game. He got his first primetime win, again, coming back against the Eagles the week before. I was happy to see that because he has primetime game issues, but I thought he would have a hard time winning a second primetime game in a row against the Chiefs. And like I said, he didn't get a call that he should have got to probably help him win the game, you know. But man, uh
Yeah.
this is one of the hardest games of the week to pick because Saints want to bounce back from their loss. Falcons want to bounce back. I got the Falcons though at home. I mean, I don't know, man.
Mm.
I think Kirk Cousins. I think Kirk Cousins will get it going. It's hard to trust. It's hard to trust the Dirty Birds because you don't know how they're going to play week in week out. They seem to be very back and forth. But
Yeah.
I think
I'm
most America's probably going to pick the Saints, but I'm going to go with the Falcons because Saints probably are the better team on paper. But I don't know, man. I'm going with
I,
Falcons.
yeah. I'm going with you on this one too. I honestly am, and it is because it's a home game for Atlanta. I mean, Kirk Cousins is surprisingly good. He is. I mean,
Yeah,
I was surprised when Minnesota let him go. I really was. He did great up there. I thought he was. I thought. I mean, I don't know if you ever watched. Did you watch The Quarterback on
I did
Netflix?
watch that episode. I watched that series. It was a great series. Yeah,
It was a great series. Yeah, it
him
was
and
a great
Mahomes
series.
and
Yeah,
the Hawaiian quarterback.
yeah, exactly. I forget his name. The guy
I know
from
his name, but the
Oregon.
guy that came out of Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyways, what I was wanting to say about this game is the fact that Kirk Cousins is at home. He's got a lot of weapons. Nobody's hurt, right? Bijan's going to be playing. Drake London's there. You know, Kyle Pitts, if we can ever freaking figure this guy out,
Yeah,
he is such a super stud. I don't know why these guys aren't figuring out a way to throw the ball to him like, 12 times a game. That I just don't get it.
yeah,
I really do think,
agree.
yeah, I think Atlanta's going to win that game. New Orleans has been a nice surprise to start the year off. I don't think people expected to be where they are right now. Alvin
Yeah,
Kamara is having an all-century first 3 weeks.
yeah,
He was down last year, and they've got some good receivers. But I honestly, Atlanta's going to win this game. It'll be close, but I think Atlanta will win. I'm thinking
yeah.
27-20.
It'll be one of the better games of the week. I agree.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, Jags at Texans. I think the Texans will blow them out. I like T. Lawrence, but they're really struggling. They struggling at the end of last year. It's continued into this year. They're not even like really being competitive in their
yeah,
in their games. I don't know what's going on with them, but the wheels have fallen off. Because they had made the playoffs like a couple of years ago, and they were like on the edge of making the playoffs last year. But Houston snuck in. They're like in a really
yep,
tight race. The Houston Texans, Indianapolis Colts, and the Jags were all like in this. I think they're all like 9-7 going into like the last game of the year. They had like all kinds of different scenarios who would get in based off what happened, and but Jags have just fallen off, man. So Texans, CJ Stroud's going to bounce back. Nico Collins, Houston Texans got a very good defense. I think it's going to be like a 41-10 game. It's going to be a big blowout. I think it's going to be a huge blowout.
yeah. I mean, you almost saw a little bit of daylight last week with Trevor Lawrence, finally hitting Christian Kirk. I mean, I think
Yeah,
they had like 10 connections. I don't know what happened to them, man, because you're right. They were in there. I was like, oh, these guys they're making their way back up to the playoffs, or at least the level of playoff teams.
yeah,
And man, they just have completely fallen apart. Yeah. Again, I'm gonna agree with you on this one for sure. Yeah, it's gotta be Houston. CJ Stroud is too good of a quarterback. And he's got a lot of good weapons around him, not just Nico Collins, but Stephon Diggs
yeah.
and who's the other good one that they've got on their team? They've got three really great receivers.
Yeah,
So
they do.
Tank
They have,
Dell,
yep.
Tank Dell is the other one. So they've got some good players, man. They really do. So yeah, I think Houston's going to win that one pretty handily as well.
Yep. Broncos at Jets. Aaron Rodgers looked really good on last Monday Night
Mm,
Football.
yeah,
Um,
he did.
After they kind of struggled in week 1 against the 49ers, they seemed they got to go, and they kind of won their second game against someone. I can't remember who they were playing. It was a nobody team. They won it, though. But now they've won 2 in a row. They looked really good against, and it was the Patriots, and of course the Patriots are rebuilding right now, but still, it was a really good
Yeah.
quality win.
Did you see that video of Aaron Rodgers trying to hug Salah or Salah trying to hug him and he kind of pushes him off?
No, I did not see
What
that.
the
That's
hell's going on
funny.
with these guys?
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
That's why I wish Brandon was on this show tonight, because Brandon's a New York Jets fan, so he would have some comments on that. Because
Yeah.
so far he's been on the show, he's always mentioned the Jets, like you mentioned Seahawks, I mentioned the Cowboys. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
he has a lot
Yeah.
of insight on that. Yeah,
I
I
think
didn't see
I
that.
think yeah, they asked Aaron about it. I think what he say, it was something to the effect that, oh, no, it was just, he's not, Salah's not a real big hugger, so I wasn't expecting him to come in to give me a hug,
Yeah,
So
yeah, he's
I
probably
don't know,
right. I don't
man.
think there's anything there, man. Salah's
Yeah,
kind
no,
of
I
a
don't think so
weird
either.
guy, though. He is kind of weird.
Yeah,
Uh,
he is. I agree.
um, but yeah, I think Jets will beat the Broncos. Broncos have the rookie quarterback, Bo Nix from Oregon. I like Bo Nix, and he did get his first win last week, but I don't think he's going to beat the Jets at home. Jets have a good team. They got good running backs. They got good receivers. Lazard followed Aaron Rodgers from Green Bay. I know their main guy
Yep.
is the Garrison. I can't remember.
Garrett Wilson. Garrett
Garrett
Wilson.
Wilson.
Yep.
They
I,
have a good tight end.
yep.
Brees Hall's their running back, like I
Tyler
already
Conklin.
mentioned.
Yeah.
They got Conklin.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of weapons, man. And yeah, and Jets got very good defense. They got that really good cornerback they got back there, number one.
Sauce Gardner. Isn't it Sauce
Man,
Gardner?
that's Sauce Gardner. You remember all their names.
Yeah.
I'm data dumping, but you got their names, man.
All good.
But yeah, they got a good defense too, man. So I got the Jets all the way in this one. They'll win 3 in a row. I think they're going to go 3-1. So Bo Nix ain't going to be
I,
able to handle their defense.
Yeah, I agree with you. Denver's rebuilding right now, right? I think they found a quarterback finally, right? They got rid of Russell Wilson. They paid all that money for that ass, and he didn't do shit for him. Get rid
Yeah,
of him, which is the right thing to do. They bring in this guy. I actually thought Bo Nix was good when he was in college. I really did. He did great in Oregon. I thought he was wonderful there. So they got a guy there. They're just in a rebuilding phase right now. Sean Payton has got this team in the right direction, but they're not going to win today or next week. You're right. The Jets will win this game. It may be closer than people think, but I think they'll win it. I think it'll be like 20. I think it'll be like 21, 21-7, somewhere in that area. I'm thinking
yeah,
20,
yeah. I
10.
agree. I think it'd be like a 2-score game. I agree.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, Vikings at Packers. Malik Willis has played good 2 weeks in a row. The old Liberty quarterback.
Yep.
They have good receiver too, Dobbs and CJ Watson, the guy that goes deep.
Christian Watson. Yep.
Christian Watson, yeah, the one that
Yep.
Aaron Rodgers, the very first play of the game of the year in his first year there.
Yeah.
He misses.
Big guy from North Dakota State, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he misses the bomb, and then I thought Aaron Rodgers was really wrong for it. He didn't go back to him for like 6 weeks, and then
Remember that.
but then Watson breaks out against my Cowboys. He has like 5, 6 catches, like 2, 3 touchdowns, and the rest of the year he's a solid.
Yeah.
Last year he was kind of up and down because he got hurt, but he's a good receiver. But I did not like the way Aaron Rodgers treated him after one missed opportunity. The first play of the year, he misses a 50-yard bomb, like right in his hands. He just drops it. It was a
Yeah.
first touchdown, but in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers, being a veteran leader, should come back to him and say, "Hey, I know you missed this, but I'm coming back to you. You're going to get it the next time." And he did
Yep.
not do that. He was just like, "No, I'm never going to throw to you for like a month." So
That's Aaron Rodgers, though. He's an ass that way. We all know that.
yeah, I did not like that. So, because I used to be an Aaron
Yeah.
Rodgers fan, and after the last couple of years, I've been not like disliking him more and more. But
Yeah.
but I got the Vikings and Packers though. I think the Vikings will win in Green Bay. I know that's a hard stadium to win, but it's not bitter cold yet. It's still warm outside. Vikings are playing good football. Packers are surprisingly doing good with Malik Willis, with Jordan Love getting hurt in the first game of the year. But I think Vikings got a lot of weapons. They have the highest paid receiver in the NFL. you know, um,
Aaron Jones running back.
Aaron
Yep.
Jones running back from Green Bay, so he's got something to prove there going back to Green Bay. Um, I got Vikings in this one. I think it'll be close because Packers are at home and Malik Willis is playing good, but I think I would say it's gonna be like a 28-21 or like 28-24 kind of game. It's gonna be like a one-score game, but I think the Vikings are gonna edge this one out.
I think, yeah, I mean, here's where we disagree. I do think that Green Bay is going to win this game.
Okay.
I'm not a Sam Darnold fan, man. I know that again, he's had a few good games, and maybe he's proven everybody wrong finally coming out of USC and being a big,
Yeah.
just being a shit show at he was with the Jets, right? And then he went to Carolina. I mean, the guy was freaking horrible. Maybe he's turned stuff around, and maybe we are wrong. I did not expect Minnesota to be where they are though to start this year off. I honestly
Yeah.
I don't think anybody thought that they would be 3-0 to start this season. Nobody, right? I didn't think that. So I think that they're due for a loss. And with it being a conference game against one of their
That's a good
biggest
point. You have a good
rivals,
point there. This is a conference game. Yeah. That's good.
yeah, in Green Bay, I know the weather's not bad yet. Jordan Love might come back. You don't know. We don't know that
We don't
yet.
know yet. We don't know yet.
Yeah, yeah. Malik Willis has been, a good journeyman while he's been gone. But Jordan Love might come back. They've got Josh Jacobs. He's not hurt. He's ready to go now. So I think it's
Yeah.
going to be more of a grind him out game, in my opinion.
I think it's gonna be
So
close. I think it's gonna be close.
yeah, I do too. I do too. I'm thinking, somewhere, 24-17, somewhere in that area, 24-20 is where I'm thinking the games, and Green Bay is going to win that one. That, in my opinion, that's my guess.
Yeah. We'll come back to that one
Mhm.
because me and Brandon had a couple of disagreements last week. I think we both kind of split. I won one of the games that we disagreed with, and he won one of the games. So we
Right
had
on.
we had 3 or 4 different picks. Like 75, like 2/3 of the picks we were spot on, but there was like 3 or 4 choices last week where it was the same. So
Yeah.
me and you might have a couple more, which is cool. It makes it more interesting.
Hell
Uh,
yeah. Absolutely.
Steelers at Colts. This is kind of a hard one. I really like Mike Tomlin. Never had a losing season in like 18 years, which is crazy. Don't know. I mean, Justin Fields is playing good right now. Russell Wilson's hurt. Um, they got the Alabama running back, Harris, whatever his name is, Najee Harris.
Najee Harris. Yep.
And then they have good receivers themselves. Always got good defense. T.J. Watt's just absolute beast, man. That guy is
Oh,
that guy is something else,
I
man.
know. I know. We don't
Um,
talk enough about him, honestly.
yeah, they have a great defense, but as good as they are, I'm surprised they're 3-0. And like my best friend Monty and I always say, every time we pick the Steelers, you always seem to get them wrong because they could be very up and down at times too. And this year's
Yeah.
not. They're surprisingly 3-0, but before it seems like every other week they look good and they look bad. They look good, they look bad. They're hard to predict. But Mike Tomlin always seems to get them to finish with a winning record though somehow. But I'm actually gonna go with the Colts. I think the Steelers are tougher. I really like this Anthony Richardson kid. Jonathan Taylor's a good running back. They had a good win last week. I think I'm crazy for saying this because I had a hard time deciding this when I was looking at this because the Steelers are the Steelers, but I just don't see the Steelers being 4-0, man. They're too up and down, man. I think the Colts are gonna win. I just don't trust the Steelers to win 4 games in a row, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I am right there with you, bro. I honestly am picking Indianapolis as well. I picked them as well. And for no other reason than the fact that you just said, I can't believe that they could go 4-0 with that team and Justin Fields running it. Sorry,
yeah,
I can't. I just can't do that. It's Justin Fields. I don't know. It's in Indianapolis.
which
Um,
helps.
I,
Yep.
I I agree with you. Anthony Richardson has been kind of down these first 3 games. He's due for a good game. They got Jonathan Taylor. They've got a really good defense, right?
Yep.
Indianapolis's defense doesn't get as much credit as they should.
I agree
And
with
they've
that.
got,
Absolutely. Yeah, they're tough.
Michael Pittman, is solid. Josh
Yep.
Downs is
I like
back. He was
Pittman. Yep.
hurt.
Yep.
So I'm with you, man. I think Indianapolis this is the toughest game for me to choose this week. This game right here. It was a tough one for me, but I'm going Indianapolis, and I think it's going to be somewhere in that 17-10, 21-13 type range of a game for me. That's what I'm thinking.
Agree.
Yeah.
This is a hard one too. Usually this would be easy, but so many players are hurt for the Rams. The Rams at the Bears. I know
Yeah.
I know the number one pick. He had a good game last week. He threw for over 300 yards. He had 2 touchdowns, but he did have 2 picks. But he did throw the ball a lot because in other games they were like really limiting him. So they did let him unleash it. Caleb Williams. I don't think he's overrated. I'm not a big fan of Caleb Williams, but I'm not against him though either. But some people are already saying he's a bust. I'm like, how can he be a bust? And he's like 3 weeks in the season. A bust is after a couple of years. Like if he's not doing anything like in 2 years, like and he, then I'm like, okay, he's a bust. But a rookie quarterback, I won't say he's a bust. Too early. At least for me, I don't know what your opinion is on that, but opinion is on that. But I don't think he's a bust. But problem with the Rams though is they have Cooper Kupp hurt, Nakua's hurt. They really don't have a legit running back. But somehow they come back against San Francisco, win this game. I don't know how they did it because I wasn't watching it, but I know it had everything to do with, I'm sure, their quarterback. Him. Because he was the old Detroit Lions quarterback. I like him. He's
Matthew Stafford.
Matthew Stafford's tough as nails. I know he had a lot to do with it. I'm sure he had to.
He did for sure. Yeah.
I just don't know who. This is a hard one for me because normally I would pick the Rams very easily because the Bears have always had a really good defense too, but their problem has been the offensive side of the ball for like 5 or 6 years. I don't like this Eberflus guy. I don't think he's a good coach.
I agree.
So I think that's part of the problem with Caleb Williams. It might have been some of the problems with Justin Fields too. It could be. I'm not making excuses, but some of it could have been their coach.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with my gut, and I think the Bears will even out their record 2-2. I like Matthew Stafford. You might disagree with this one. He might be able to will out a victory again, but I just think they still got too many injuries, man. If they could do it, if he can do what he did on offense like he did last week, Caleb Williams, they could win this game minus the 2 picks.
Yeah, I agree with you. The one benefit or the one big thing that they did last week, Chicago's offense did last week, is they found their tight end.
Yes.
Right? Cole Kmet had like 11 or 12 receptions for like 100 and some crazy number of yards, and he hadn't done anything the 2 weeks before that.
Yes.
They finally found their tight end. They finally found that outlet that Caleb can just kind of drop off to, so he doesn't feel like he has to pressure it downfield all the time. He's got great receivers. I know that Odunze's back. There. Yeah, DJ Moore is okay.
There. Yeah, he's there.
Yeah. So shoot, why not? It's if there is a time for them to come out and actually they had a number 1 pick. They picked this guy for a reason. If he can do what he did last week, they will beat the Rams. And I do think they're going to beat the Rams. I think you're right. I think the Rams are hurting. I really do. All they got is Matthew Stafford. Kyrene Williams, the running back, is good. Don't get me wrong there.
He's from Notre Dame, but I still think he's like a legit running back. He's not bad. He's kind of like a better backup than a starter. That's how I see him. He's like
they just don't have any receivers. Yeah, they just don't have any receivers right now. They're just all hurt. I know Cooper Kupp is out again, so
yep.
They just don't have anybody. So I'm going to stick with you on this one. I'm going to go Chicago too. 17-10, 14-10.
Yeah, it's going to be a low scoring game. I agree. It's going to be low scoring.
Yep.
This is another weird one. Eagles at Bucks. Eagles had a big win in New Orleans last week. Bucks, surprisingly, the Bucks lost to someone I didn't think they were going to lose to. Can't remember who it was, but I was surprised they lost. Can they bounce back at home? I think the Bucks quarterback has found a home there. At Cleveland, he struggled. He was up and down. Had a couple of good years. Had some bad years there. But
Baker's doing great there. Baker's doing great in Tampa.
Mayfield is doing good there.
Yeah.
I expect the Bucks to bounce back, and I hate the Eagles, but I have to be objective here and not just pick the Eagles lose because I don't like them. Jalen Hurts is very good.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if AJ Brown is still back. That's what's hurting them. They still have Devontae Smith, they have a good tight end too in Goddard, they got Saquon Barkley now for that big trade from the Giants. Eagles do got a good offense, no doubt about that. And Saquon's off to a great start. I just wonder if the Bucks and Baker Mayfield can bounce back. Their running game's not doing anything. Their running game needs to get going. It's pretty much been Baker Mayfield and that big receiver, that tall big receiver they got,
Mike Evans.
Evans. Yeah.
and Chris
they
Godwin.
got Godwin on the other side. It's
Yeah,
pretty much been them,
yeah,
you know.
yep,
So
yeah.
that's a little bit worrisome for the Bucks, as they have to get the running game going. So actually, I might pick the. As much as I hate to say it, I think the Eagles. I think the Eagles will win. You know, I really like the Bucks, and Baker Mayfield is doing good down there. Without them having a good running game, I don't know, man. Um, and the Bucks are always kind of up and down. They'll win 2 or 3 in a row, then they'll lose a couple in a row. But they did make the playoffs last year, and they got a playoff win, which was good for Baker. But I think the Bucks will lose at home. I think it's gonna be like a 27-20 kind of game. I think the Eagles will win, man. I think Eagles will win.
Yeah, the biggest question for me on the Philadelphia side is the receivers. AJ Brown was out, right? So I don't know if
He
he's
is
back
out.
this
That's
week.
what scares me. But Devontae
Yeah,
Smith is there still, and they got their
he's not,
tight
but
end
he's
still.
not. He got pulled too at the very end of
Did
the
he?
game
Oh, I might have
for
misread
concussion.
that. So maybe the Bucks
Yeah,
will win. You're right. I didn't
yeah,
read that. I thought they still had him.
yeah. So
Okay,
he might still play, but he did get pulled out for a concussion, so he didn't come back into the
I forgot
game.
about that.
Devontae Smith.
Okay.
So that's why Goddard had a hell of a game. So that is concerning. I mean,
Yeah, you
if
have a
they
good
lose both
point.
of
The
those
Bucks could
receivers,
win that
man,
game. Yeah, Saquon
yeah,
Barkley can't do anything. I mean,
by himself, yeah,
by
not all by
himself.
himself.
Jalen Hurts can run too, but the problem with Jalen Hurts is he has been fumble prone. You know, he is fumble
Yeah,
prone. He fumbled
yeah.
last week. They still won, but he fumbled. You know, I'm
Well,
like,
yeah,
man,
yeah,
stop
yeah.
fumbling, man.
Yeah. If you look at Philadelphia though, last week their defense did really well against
They
New
stood up.
Orleans,
Yeah,
right? So I think this is going to be a low scoring game. I do, as far as Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield. I mean, yeah, you're right. He's rejuvenated. And what's cool about Baker Mayfield when there's big games, this to me seems like a big game for them. Um,
he plays
because it's at
well.
home. They need to win it. He plays well
Yeah,
in big games. He really does. He plays
yeah.
well in big games. He's got all of his star receivers. I think that Tampa Bay is going to win this game. It's going to be slow. It's going to be a low, kind of sloppy game. But I think it will, this could be one of those like 10-7 games or 13-7 game kind of deals. I think Tampa's going to win it.
Okay. Yeah, I would say a
Yep.
higher scoring, but you're probably right because they both are missing some pieces. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pats at 49ers. I got the 49ers. Pats are just rebuild. Patriots are just rebuilding. You
Yeah.
know,
This could be an easy one.
this is the easiest one of the week probably. CMC is still
Yeah.
out, but that London guy that came in from has just been killing it. You know,
Yep.
I mean, 49ers quarterback Mr. Irrelevant still playing pretty good. You
Brock
know,
Purdy's killing it. Yeah.
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 You know, 49ers
Easy game.
49ers
Yeah.
probably gonna blow them out. It's gonna be a blowout. It's gonna be like a 38-10 kind of game. I don't know if the Patriots can even score 10 points. They only scored 3 points against the Seahawks.
Well,
So
they look like shit last week against the Jets. So yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I think this game's gonna be really lopsided. I think,
I
San
mean the
Francisco's
Jets. I'm
pissed
sorry, they only
off.
scored 3 points against the Jets. I said Seahawks. The Seahawks
Yeah.
went to overtime. They actually played well that game, but
Yeah.
Seahawks
Yeah.
won that one. Yeah,
Yeah. But I mean, you're going to see some different stuff from the San Francisco offense. That if they don't have the guys that they usually use, like Kittle and
yeah,
Debo and CMC, they'll use Ayuk. They look at Juwan Jennings last week. The guy freaking went off, had
yeah.
3 T. I mean, it was insane. So yeah, I just think that San Francisco is going to make a statement with this game, and they're going to blow them out. Yeah, it'll be like 38-0. It could be 38-0. Who knows? New
Yeah,
England
I said
sucks, man. Let's
38 to
face it.
10, but it probably is 30,
Yeah,
maybe 38-3. They might get a field goal early in the game.
yeah, yeah. That's an
Uh,
easy one in my opinion.
that is easy. Easiest one of the
Yeah.
week.
Yep.
Commanders at Cardinals. Obviously, we were talking about Jaden Daniels winning 2 in a row. Can their streak continue? Kyle Murray is back for Arizona. They looked good in week 2, but they looked bad last week, in week 3.
Yeah.
So I don't know where to put them. They have some weapons too on offense. Ohio State rookie receivers there. He had
Marvin Harrison Jr. is a
Marvin Harrison
stud. Yeah.
Jr. there. He didn't do anything week 1, but in week 2 and 3, he played a lot better. He looks good.
Yep.
He
He did.
But can Jaden Daniels and those guys keep it going? I think this is gonna be a good game, but I'll even though the Cardinals are very up and down, I'll pick the Cardinals since they're the home team because I really don't. I mean, I'll pick them. It's gonna be close, but I'll pick them at home because I still don't know if the Commanders can. I don't know if Jaden Downs can still win a big game. I won't say it's a big game, but win on the road. And Kyle Murray is back. If he stays healthy, they're a lot better. When he's out there, they're horrible. So, but if he stays healthy,
Yeah.
they're much better. So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you on this one too. Washington, you're right. The travel part of it is what I'm thinking of, having to travel all the way across the country to Arizona.
yeah,
Kyler Murray's a different quarterback than Joe Burrow, right?
yeah,
And so we'll see how Washington does against, keeping that little guy from running all over the place. And
yeah,
he's just got weapons everywhere.
yeah.
Arizona's defense,
And
I'm
the
a little
running back
concerned
is doing
about.
good too. He's a good success story. James Conner, I believe, he's having a really good.
Yep. Yeah, James Conner's doing great as long as he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, that's
That
been
guy
his
gets hurt
problem.
every
But
damn year,
I like him. He's
Yeah,
good. I think he's
yeah,
like a
yeah,
cancer survivor or something, and he came back to play in the NFL.
yeah.
It was a good story. Yeah,
Which is great. Yeah, they've got a really good tight end in Trey McBride, who they haven't used a whole lot this year. He was awesome last year. So they got
yeah,
to get him going. I don't really want them to get him going, but they need to. I think they're going to win this game because they're in, the Seahawks division. But
yeah.
I do think Arizona is going to win this game. And yeah, I mean, as far as where I think it'll fall in, yeah, 24-17, somewhere in there.
It'll be
Washington will
close.
give them a
I think
game.
Commanders will keep it
Washington will give them a
close.
game.
I think
Yeah,
it'll be like 27-17, 24-17, something like that. Conner
yeah,
will put up a little bit
yeah.
of points. Um,
Yep.
Chiefs at Chargers. I know I have nothing against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Some of my good friends are Kansas City Chiefs fans, but I agree with you. I don't know if they're getting calls or not, but it does seem to happen this year. Um, I mean, my Michigan ex head coach is there, and they're off to a good start, but
Yeah.
be surprised somehow. Here's the thing about the Chiefs: they're not playing their best ball, but they still are winning these games. Some of it might be the
Yep.
calls. Other might be because it's their experience. Like they're not, they don't freak out. Like they've been there, done that. Um,
Yeah.
so and Travis Kelce is off to a slow start, but I think he's going to get it going. He kind of had a better second half against Atlanta last week. He had a couple big catches in the second half,
Yeah.
so maybe
Yeah.
he'll get it going. Chiefs,
Yeah. He's done. He's done. You know that, right? Taylor Swift is his
yeah, he got
Yoko
whooped.
Ono to
He
John
got
Lennon,
whooped.
bro.
I say he got whooped, man. I was talking about it last year. He
Uh,
got whooped, man. It's right around the
Travis is
man.
it's the same thing that happened to Russell Wilson when he picked up and married Sierra, man. It just
Oh
screwed
man,
his
I agree
career
with you,
all the
man.
way. It's game over.
I guess he's thinking with the wrong head, you could say, man.
No shit, exactly. 100%.
but
Oh
but they
man.
don't have their Chiefs don't have their running back though. That
Yeah.
he's a beast.
Yep.
But they have good guys.
Pacheco's out.
Pacheco's out, but they had good guys filling in last week. That guy came out of nowhere, had a really good game for them.
Steele. Yeah.
Still, yeah, like who is this guy? He had a good game.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, they just signed Kareem Hunt too to
Yeah, he was on a
53
practice
man
squad. Yeah,
roster. So he'll
I
be
think
in there. So you never know.
I think the running game will survive until Pacheco gets back. The
Yeah.
Chiefs has been there and done that, and even though Kelsey's whooped, they're probably still in this game. They got other receivers besides him. They got that second year sensation.
Oh, Rasheed Rice.
Rashid Rice is a beast.
Yep.
They got
Xavier Worthy.
they got Xavier Worthy from Texas. The rookie's off to a good start. They got number 9, the old Pittsburgh Steelers receiver.
Oh yeah, it's just Smith Schuster.
He's
Yeah.
there. He's still got a lot of weapons, man.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs, Jim Harbaugh is not going to win this game, or Jim. So
hmm
they are off to a good start, and him coming back to the NFL, but they're going to lose. I think Chiefs will probably win another squeaker. They've been winning a lot of squeakers. They'll probably win like 24-20, something like that, man.
Yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere in that area too. I actually don't even know if Los Angeles will even score that many points.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's like maybe 2017, 2014.
yeah, J.K.
Chiefs haven't
Dobbins
really
has
put
been
up big numbers yet, though, either on offense. They've been slowed
no.
down. So,
J.K. Dobbins has been a really nice surprise for the Chargers. That's their
yeah.
running back. He really has been. I mean, I've been impressed with him. That's kind of been their main offense. I just don't think that they've really played a whole lot of tough teams. So
No.
now they're playing a tough team, and I think that Kansas City will beat them pretty easily, even though it's
Yeah.
in
Yeah, I agree. They
LA.
have not played a hard team yet. I agree with that. They played the
Yeah.
Raiders in the week one, and they played someone else. Yeah, they haven't played anyone hard
Yeah.
yet.
They
Yeah,
really haven't. So I think 27-7 or it's 28-7, somewhere in there is what I'm thinking it's going to be.
I got you.
Yep.
Browns at Raiders. Another defensive battle. Raiders are rebuilding.
Yep.
Browns got no offense, but they still got a really good defense. One of the best defenses in the NFL. Um, uh, Raiders did
That's
get
a tough one too.
Raiders did get a surprising win though. The other week, I couldn't believe they beat who they upset the other week. I mean, that was, they were everyone was talking about that. That was the game everyone thought would be a blowout.
Who
Uh,
was it that they beat? God,
I have it. Maybe it might be in my notes from last week. Let me look. But I couldn't believe that they freaking won, man. Um, who did they beat? Well, they beat. Let me look. I'm still trying to look.
well, while you're looking for that, yeah, I'll kind of go over what I'm thinking on this game. Yeah,
Yeah,
with
go for
Cleveland,
it.
yeah. I mean, the whole situation with Cleveland is their quarterback situation. I mean, what
Yeah,
the hell?
Deshaun
I mean,
Watson's a problem. Yeah, he's a
huge
problem. I
problem.
agree.
Uh, I don't know. My thing about this game is they had Gardner Minshew last week and then they sat him. So I don't know. Both of these teams seem to be in a shambles. The Raiders have Devontae Adams. That's my key for choosing the Raiders. You
Yep,
got you got one of the top 5 receivers in the
I
league,
agree.
and if you just throw him the ball, just throw it up to him. He's gonna catch the damn thing.
Yeah,
And they got a
I
decent enough
agree.
defense with God damn it, who's their pressure guy?
Crosby,
Crosby, yeah. I
Max
mean, you got a guy like
Crosby.
that. Yeah, Max Crosby. You stand a chance to win this game pretty easily. It's at home,
Yeah,
27-14.
I got the Raiders too, and who the Raiders beat? Not last week. They beat Carolina. Well, I'm sorry, they lost to Carolina last week, but they beat the Ravens surprisingly. That's how the Ravens
That's who it
were
was.
0-2.
Yeah.
They beat
Yeah.
the Ravens. I thought for sure they were not. I thought the Ravens would beat the brakes off them. They actually lost that game by like a field goal, 24-21. So I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But I got the Raiders too.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the Raiders will bounce back at home. Browns got no offense. Deshaun Watson is not the guy.
Maury Cooper, but that's about it. And even him, I mean, he's probably pissed that he's stuck there.
Yeah, he probably wants to go back. There's talk about him going back to the Cowboys, and I would love that. We need
They
him.
could use him. Yeah, you could
Sure
use him.
can. I hope he does
Yeah,
go back to the Cowboys. That would help our offense out tremendously. And then they just can't key on Cee Dee Lamb all the dang time. I would love,
exactly.
I would love to get him back. I hope that's
Yep.
not just a rumor that actually comes true. Um, but I got the Raiders winning. Sunday night football. This is a good one. Bills will look really good this year. They start off hot every year, though. Then they tail off kind of middle of the season ish.
Yeah. Yeah.
They still
Yeah.
make the playoffs, but they don't. But they're always a really good early season team.
Yeah, they are.
Ravens got their bounce back win, their first win of the year against the Cowboys. Looked really good, except for the Cowboys coming back. But besides the Cowboys come back at the very end, they looked pretty darn good all game, except for the last quarter.
Yep.
Um,
Lamar is Lamar. He just does his thing, man. God, the guy's
yeah, I
good.
think the Ravens will win at home. I think it's gonna be a very good game. This is probably the best game of the week. I'm glad it's a Sunday night football game. I hope it's not a letdown, but this is probably the best game on paper because the Bills are playing really good right now. The Ravens finally got the monkey off their back, getting their first win of the year. I think the Ravens will win 2 in a row and even their record out to 2-2, and the Bills will fall to 3-1. But this is gonna be a very good game. This could come down to like if it's what I think it could be. It could come down to like a game-winning field goal by Tucker or someone like that. It's gonna be close. I think it
Yep.
might be high scoring too. I think both teams are gonna score. They both do have good defenses, but I think with their defense being good, I think they could both really play though on offense though too. I think it's gonna be like a 30 kind of 27 kind of game, 27-24 or something like that. That's what
Yeah.
I
You,
got.
you look. Yeah, you look at it. You look at it on paper. This is one that you and I will disagree on as well. When I look at it, I look at Mike McDonald is gone now, and Baltimore
Yeah.
isn't the same defense that they used to be. I mean, look what Dallas did
Yeah,
to them
I
last
agree.
week. They scored 25, 24
5.
point, 25 points. So they're not as good as they used to be. And again, Buffalo they're they're on fire right now. For some reason, he is clicking on all cylinders with all receivers. I mean,
Yep.
Dalton Kincaid is tight end. Khalil
That's true.
Shakir, Curtis Samuel. I mean, he's hitting everybody, right? And then you got James Cook, and he's coming out of the backfield and either running or hitting screens and running 22 yards down the field. So their offense is in super sync right now. Now watch what will end up happening. It'll be like a 9-6 just sloth of a game. You
Yeah, it
watch,
could
it'll be
happen.
a
We could jinx it. Yeah, we could jinx it.
I know it never fails that way, but I am going to pick Buffalo in this one, and I'm going. I think it's going to be like you. I think it will be higher scoring if these offenses continue to do what they do. I'm thinking it's going to be somewhere in that 20, 24-14, 24-17 range is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm with you. And you have a good point about the Ravens aren't as good on defense. That's true, but they still aren't horrible. But they definitely have
No.
lost a little bit. That's true.
Well, they like you said, they lost to the Raiders, right? I mean, they lost to the Raiders, and then they go and
yeah, they did. That was surprising. But they lost
and then
the
they
first
turn
game of the year in a very good game against
Yeah.
They had the whole toe touch, which could have tied the game, but he was out of bounds, so that was the right call. That had
likely was out.
Scoring play. He was out barely.
Yep.
Like by
100%.
like 3 inches, but he was out.
Yep, for sure.
Replay came in handy. That's what we're talking about early in the show. Like in our games, we probably would have had him in unless we saw his toe.
Exactly.
The official originally had him in. The original call was a touchdown, but then they reviewed it since it was a scoring play. So
that's so close, man. I'm sure you and I probably ran into that a few times. Who knows?
We might have seen that, but that little big toe barely being out of balance, that'll be really hard to see. So yeah, that was
big time.
Instant replay kind of saved them on that one.
Yeah, agreed.
There's 2 Monday Night Football games. Titans at Dolphins. That's an ugly game. Neither team. I mean, Dolphins are good with Tua, but without Tua, I don't know. Oh my God, I don't know how to pick this one. Titans do have Pollard though, the old Dallas running back. That's one thing they got going for them.
Yeah. This is a tough one. Yeah, it's ugly. This is ugly. This is Monday night. Come on.
I can't believe they picked this game for Monday night, but they got Tony Pollard. Dolphins are good when they have Tua. That's probably one reason why I picked it. And the receivers, Tyreek Hill and Waddle and all the other guys they got. And they got good running backs, A-Chain and, another guy. I think he's hurt, but I think he came back. But they have a good offense when they have Tua in there.
Yeah, Raheem Mostert is who you're thinking about. Yeah.
They're one of the best offenses of the year last year for most of the season. Dolphins might squeak this out at home, but I think it's going to be ugly. Neither team is any good, but I don't even know what the score is going to be. But I think I'm just going to go with the home team because I think both teams are bad right now. But I'll stick with the Dolphins because they got Tyreek Hill. They still got the receivers. Hopefully their running game gets going to help out this, backup quarterback. He's like a third string guy, Skylar Thompson, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
That's why.
Well, now it's that Boyle guy, that third string guy, because Skylar got hurt in our game.
Yeah. I don't know who they got, but yeah, Dolphins got a low quarterback right now. But still, somehow they might squeak this out if they use their running game, and hopefully Tyreek Hill and Waddle could get some big catches for them to help out this young quarterback. So I got them to win, but it's gonna be ugly. It's gonna be an ugly game.
Yeah. Agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you on this one too. They should win this game, in my opinion. It's at home. I just don't know what Tennessee's got. I mean,
Will Levis is Pollard, and that's it. Yeah.
Well, they're so unreliable with their quarterback play right now. I mean, it's just
they got the old Kentucky. They're not old, but the Kentucky. He's not a rookie anymore. Quarterback.
Yeah, Will Levis. He's been in the league for about 3 years. They've got Calvin Ridley and DeAndre Hopkins, but Hopkins is, he's like a grandpa at this point, and they can't even throw to him anymore. So I don't know what the hell's going on with him, but that team seems to be kind of in a disarray right now. Miami, it's at home. I just have a feeling that they want to bounce back from this long game. They got a little extra, time off from for the Monday night game, just like we are getting. So an extra day to sleep and recover. I think they'll win this game.
Yep, I agree. Here's the game you're waiting for. The better Monday night game for sure, and your team. I call them the C
Hell yeah.
The Seahawks at the Lions. Seahawks won in Detroit last year, but or was it the year before? I know they were there not too long ago. I think they won, but God, it's gonna be a good game. I know you're probably gonna go with the Seahawks, but I'm gonna go with the Lions because they're at home, and I think the Lions got something to prove. I think the Seahawks will make it a game, but like you were kind of saying earlier, the Seahawks haven't really played anybody yet, and this will be their big first test of the
Yep.
year. I like Mike McDonald, their coach. I think he's done great so far. But yeah, I think Jared Goff. I think all the receivers, Hutchinson on defense. You know, I
Yep.
think Montague Brown is back, but I also have that Alabama guy that's had a breakout year so far, number 9. They got good running backs, Montgomery and the other guy, Gibbs.
Yep.
Yeah, they're good. They're solid
Yeah.
offensively and they're good defensively too. I think the Lions are gonna win, but I think it's gonna be close. I think it's gonna be like I think it's gonna be like a 2017 or like 24-21 kind of game. It's gonna be close. The Seahawks are gonna compete. I know that they will compete, but I got the Lions squeaking this one out.
Yeah. Yeah. I am going to be a homer on this one. I am going to pick Seattle, but
I
you
knew
know,
you would. I almost always pick the
yeah.
Cowboys, so
Yeah,
yeah,
I have to. I got to keep with my love, and you
yeah,
know they're 3-0. They're 3-0.
they
So
are.
you know
They are.
they're only
That's
one of
surprising
what?
to me so far. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
one of
surprising.
4 teams or 5 teams that are 3-0 right now. So you know they're probably due for a loss, and this is probably the one where it'll happen. But I'm going to stick with the Seahawks. My biggest concern with the Seahawks right now is Detroit's got a really good run defense. We aren't even sure if we're going to have Kenneth Walker. I don't know if he's going to play. So now we're going to be with Charbonnet, who,
Cabernet did good last
yeah,
week.
he did okay, but he's just not Kenneth Walker. He just
No,
isn't
he's not.
that explosive guy that just blows people over like Marshawn Lynch used to.
Yeah,
I think our defense will hold their own against Detroit and their receivers. They got 2 killer receivers, 3 receivers when you think of Sam Laporta and their tight end.
if they
And
get
they got
him
Jamal
going, he hasn't got
Williams.
going yet, but they probably will get him
Yeah.
going this game.
Yeah. Jamal Williams and Monte Brown on the,
Jamal Williams is the other
big
guy I was
outside.
thinking of. He's
Yeah.
when he's healthy from
They're
Alabama,
good.
he's good. Yeah, he's real
Hell
good.
yeah. So they've got really good receivers, but I think we can hold our own there. I think we can stop their run just like we did with most of the teams that we played so far this year. So yeah, I am playing Homer here, Homerville, 17-14. I think they'll squeak one out.
It'll
Maybe
be
in
close.
overtime.
Well,
Yeah.
their coach, Lions coach, got to stop being a meathead and kick field goals and stop going for on 4th down. So
No kidding, man. He does it more than anybody out there in the NFL right
and he
now.
did
It's
it in the NFC
crazy.
Championship game last year. I was so happy
Yeah,
to him. I was
crazy.
actually going for Detroit. I wanted them to beat San Francisco so bad. I was so mad at him. Like, you are killing me,
Yeah.
dude. You're killing me.
Yeah. No, I
Killing me.
agree. Killing me, Smalls. Exactly. I agree with you 100%.
And he did it more than once. I'm like, I thought once was
Yeah.
enough. I guess you didn't learn your lesson the first freaking time. Like, oh my goodness.
No shit.
That's when I started calling him a meathead. Like, dude, you just don't know any better. Meathead.
Yeah. No kidding. No kidding.
I'm like, oh my God, you just can't get over yourself, man. That ego is killing you, brother.
Well, I kept track of who I pick. So, we got to go back and
we'll have to get back on this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the last game. But man, like in closing, we always do a closing, So, Jim, thanks for coming on. You did great, man. For all the viewers and subscribers, man, let us know what your picks are. Let us know if you think we're crazy or if you agree with us. Let us know who your team is. Just let us know what you think about football. Like any comments you got, we welcome them. Suggest that we want them, whether it's good or bad. We want the comments. And Jim, I'll tag you on Facebook and I'll send this to you on a text also. So
Cool.
Hopefully your friends can see this so they can see you in action. So
Great.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having me on, man. This is actually really fun. I didn't know what to expect, but I had a good time. I'd be happy to come and do it again, bro. Seriously, it was really
you're
fun.
welcome every
enjoyed it.
time, man. Like I said at the
It's cool.
beginning before we start, anytime we do a show, man, you're always welcome. So I'll let you know.
Cool.
We always just got to pick out the weeks of the days of the week because of people's schedules. So
Yep.
we always usually work it out. So hopefully it fits with yours. But you're welcome anytime, brother.
Thanks, man. It was fun. I had a good time. We'll see how all those picks turn out.
All right. So I'll close it.
Man.
I won't end our Zoom call, but I'll close the show, the recordings. But thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And
Yep, you got it, bro.